Good morning, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Hey guys, I'm glad you guys are enjoying all my repairs on these vintage Ampex video machines. Well, anyways, yesterday we did get video picture, and I was doing some troubleshooting on a lot of different things, and got some news about this machine. Anyways, on this video head itself, you got a pole with 3 connectors that goes to the video head. Well, this was very loose, and it was tilting to one side, causing tension on the actual carbon tips that make contact to the video head, and that was creating some drag in the video. So I fixed that. We re-glued that back in place. I took this whole thing out, and I re-glued it in like a little vise thing so it stays perfectly straight, and when it spins, it's not bending in any direction. It's staying up and down in perfect direction. So we did fix that last night. We also took the stack, the video control stack, which is this one right here, and I checked it, and there's nothing wrong with it. So where does that leave us? Okay, I think the video image is going to clear up a lot better once I reinstall this upper playback board. And incidentally, we put brand new carbon tips. I don't know if you guys can see this. These tips press against the drum. So as you can see, those carbon tips right there in the center, those push against that spinning disc. That's what provides video to this playback amp board, which is right here located on top. And so we put brand new ones. We cut them to exact lengths, so the tension is not more on one side than the other. So they're pushing down on the spinning of this drum at the same tension. So I took my time on making those last night. I wanted to make sure that the length of each one were exact. So when they're pushing up against this, they're not pressing too hard, and the tension's even on both sides. So you got perfect contact with no heavy drag to it. So we redid that last night. I took time to really measure it out and get it exact, so that way the tension is just right. So the contact to the video heads are, or the connector is not going to be too tight or too loose or bent in one side or bent in the other. It's going to be hitting dead on both sides, pressing it in dead center. And then we re-glued this so that way it stays dead center. As you can see, it doesn't move, it doesn't bend. This is just a plastic little holder they have these little contacts in. It was bending one side to the other, and it's not supposed to do that. So we got some crazy glue in there, and we pushed it in there with like a Q-tip to get it in there really good, and we pressed it down with like a little vise to hold it dead down on, together, so it stays really tight and it stays straight. So it dried last night, so we got that fixed. So I think that's going to correct a lot of the video images for stability, for dead-on contact with these video heads, for the video tips that connect to the video head itself. Anyways, we did get video picture out of this, guys. You guys know that this machine does work. Audio is completely restored. Video will shortly be restored. I did find out that the audio control head isn't the issue. We're going to pull out this servo board, which is this one right here. I think we got a bad amp that controls the tracking. Probably happened from the previous owners who had this machine. Whoever had this machine before me maybe turned it on. One of these capacitors probably shorted out an amp that controls the tracking, which is common. I see this on a lot of video decks, especially reel-to-reel video decks, where the control track goes out because of the amp that controls it, which is usually like 2 or 3 transistors. I did pull out the schematic, so I know which transistors to check and which probably in the ballpark it is, so I can cross-reference these numbers and get some brand new ones on order. And we're just going to rebuild the control track amp on this completely with new transistors. I'll get the correct ones and get them on order. But this one is pretty much this machine is almost done. There's not going to be too much more to do to this. I do have to do something to the control track, which we're going to have to rebuild that part of it. I think whoever had this machine at some point turned it on when it was sitting too long. And what happened is when capacitors are bad, if they're not doing their job, things back up, and you get short out transistors to an open position. which is probably what happened on this deck because of the bad capacitors. It shorted out that transistor into the open position. So anyways, the servo board, thank God, it's a small little board, no big deal to fix. We could pop out these transistors in that general area, check out the resistors, and put some new amp transistors in there to get the amplitude ready or proper for the control track to read the signal from the tape. That's why there was no tracking at all. If you turn this, when I had it connected, which was the first sign, you usually can hear when you turn the tracking knob, you can hear it trying to compensate. It wasn't doing anything at all. So that basically tells me we got some transistors problems on this servo board that controls the tracking. I thought it might be the control head, but it's not. I checked it and it does have good ohms reading. So it's not the control head. It's actually the control section on this servo board, which is no big deal. It's a very, very small board. Shouldn't be very hard to fix at all. And but anyways, we did fix the upper drum with the contacts for the video head's gonna make, is made for it to read the signal. This was fixed. This was broke. I didn't think it was gonna make that big of a deal as long as it didn't really move, but it does make a deal. So I glued that with crazy glue last night, so it's hard as a rock and it's dead center. It will not bend in any direction. So that means it'll make perfect contact with these carbon tips, and it won't go in any direction swaying to give you influx of the contacts of the video when it's playing back. It will get dead solid contact, which is the whole purpose. When you start seeing noise in your video, it usually is your brushes or something along that lines. So anyways, we fixed this properly this time. I took my time to measure out the carbon tip contacts and to fix the protrusion from the drum itself that gives you video contact with the video head. So that's fixed. The audio control head is nothing wrong with it. It looks like the audio control section on this servo board, a couple of little things need to be changed out on it, and we should be able to get the control track working again. So I hope you enjoyed this video.